So you've looked over all the advertisements or websites, you found a couple of schools that you'd like to apply to, and you're getting ready to fill in the applications. What are some important things for you to remember? And what are some tips and tricks that could maybe help you from landing that dream job here in Japan? Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new here, thank you so much for stopping by and joining us today. If we are meeting for the first time, my name is Kim and I'm an elementary school teacher here in Yokohama, Japan. I was an elementary school teacher in Los Angeles before moving here to Japan in 1988. In this video, we're going to talk about some trends that I've noticed or some things that I've noticed with applications that can hopefully help you along your journey to find a teaching job here in Japan. Okay, so as you all know, I'm pretty old school or just plain old, and things have changed a lot since the old days when you send a cover letter with your resume, you send it certified mail so you can tell when it gets there, and nowadays so many things are done digitally. So I don't have the secret to that magic cover letter or that magic resume or CV that's going to get you that job. But I can give you a couple of things that I've noticed over the years that hopefully can help you during this application process time. The number one thing I would say, and probably the most important that often gets overlooked, is pay attention to every single direction and detail that the job application asks for. For example, pay attention to deadlines. Pay attention to how they want your application submitted. Pay attention to everything that they ask you to enclose. So many people will send off a cover letter and a resume, and in the job advertisement or the website, it specifically asks you for certain documents. And people say, well, I don't have these documents ready at hand, but I just want to get the application off. Or if if you're interested further, then I'll get all that stuff. It usually, something's blowing in the wind. I'm sorry guys, I'm in my car today. I'm waiting for my dog who is getting his hair cut today. So I thought, what better way to wait than wait in my car and do a video. But no, you would be surprised at the number of people that they look at the directions, but they think that it's okay to bend the rules a little bit. If you call up or if you talk to somebody on the recruitment team and you specifically ask, hey, I won't have my master's degree or I won't have my master's diploma until such and such a date, is there a way I can get an extension? Then maybe they might give you that allowance. But from experience, I would say do exactly the steps that particular company or school asks for. There's a lot of companies and a lot of schools that pay particular attention to how well you follow directions. Maybe it's because it will show how you will be as a teacher. Will you be meticulous in your work? Will you look at the details? Will you make sure that you are on time with everything that needs to be submitted on time? I would say that's one of the most important things to pay attention to. And remember that schools, boards of education, companies, a lot of them ask for different things. So maybe this particular school wants a copy of all your transcripts, but maybe this language school doesn't need that. This school may ask for documents coming out of your ears, and this school might not. Just remember that every school is different, and if you really want to stand out or at least make a good first impression, follow those steps of each school and don't assume that it's the same for everybody. The second tip, as my voice cracks, the second tip I would say especially if you are applying for an English teaching job, know your punctuation and your grammar and your English skills, because those are little things that some English teachers are paying really strict attention to. And one spelling mistake, one simple grammar mistake might cause them to think, okay, we can't hire somebody that doesn't even know their own native language grammar to teach grammar at our school. Another thing that I really don't know a lot about, so I think I would just advise you to check and see, is the new trends in resume writing or CV writing. Because I realize now that people do a lot of things to be creative, especially elementary school teachers. You know, they might make their resume on a colorful template, or they might add pictures, or even just colored backgrounds. And I don't know whether in Japan that has been the trend yet. I would suggest, especially if you're going for a job in a board of education or in a teaching position at a school, to stick with the very formal, very plain, very basic resume, cover letter, CV or resume pattern. Japan resumes are even a little bit different than English ones, and some places may ask you to submit a Japanese style resume as well. So check up on what they ask for. I saw a beautiful resume for an elementary school teacher of one of my friends, and granted, it will probably get you noticed, but I can't speak on behalf for all the schools or recruiting companies on whether or not that will get your resume in the absolutely no pile, the maybe pile, or the definitely yes pile. So maybe do your research on that. Maybe talk with people at the school, or maybe some people that work there that can give you better insight. But I will say this: if it asks for a CV, please give a CV. If it asks for a resume, give a resume. Is there a difference? Yes, there is. I grew up with resumes. I did not grow up with CVs, so I had to learn how to construct a CV. One of the cultural differences that I found in Japan is that a lot of job applications will ask for your photograph. They may also request information about your age, and I don't remember, I haven't had any applications that asked for marital status, but that could be something that some places may ask for. If it asks for a photo, it's probably best to give your standard passport type of photo. I've seen people submit resume photos with photos that maybe they took with their friends, and they didn't crop it out, so it wasn't as professional. There's my phone. Look. Hey, sorry about that. I changed angles. That was the phone call from my dog's groomers, so I went to go pick up my dog. He's here with me now. The other thing is, I was really surprised during a recent recruitment of how many people have forgotten the importance of a cover letter. Now, maybe some companies or schools or Board of Educations don't require a cover letter, or they don't necessarily base all their judgment on that, but that's kind of like your first impression, to share a little bit about yourself, to make an impression, to kind of give your reasons for wanting to get a position there. So use that opportunity wisely. One of the things about job applications now, as opposed to when I was first starting out, is that there's a lot of places that prefer that you send your resume, your CV, your documents all online. Please read carefully. Do they want it as an attachment? Does their school have a special online application form that you have to fill out? Do they request that you put it all in the body of the letter? All those things are important. Nowadays, schools, especially schools in Japan, especially a lot of the immersion schools and the international schools, have their own forms and documents that you need to type in, fill out, and send to their website. In addition, if you are lucky enough to get an in-person interview, always make sure that you bring a hard copy of your resume. Some people think that if they already have your resume online, why do I need to bring a hard copy one? But it's always good to have your original with you. Make a couple of copies just in case, and then that way, right, even if you don't use it, at least you have it just in case they ask for it. The last thing I would recommend is that whenever you send anything to Japan, whether it be internationally or domestically, always make sure that you use something that can track your documents to verify that you made the deadline requirement or that you actually sent it. Because should anything get lost, at least you have that proof. So it sounds really like common sense, but just after being on the other side of the recruiting procedures, I'm really surprised at how many people don't take special care to make sure that their documents got in. So in closing, I would say that pretty much taking the same care that you would take in any country to get a job application in. It's pretty much the same everywhere, and maybe the only difference about applying for things in Japan is that some of the things that they may have or that they may request on their application is a little bit different, such as your photograph, such as your date of birth, such as asking you to include documents like your high school transcripts, your college transcripts, all those other things. I wish I had a magical formula to give you whatever job it is that you have found and are applying for. I know it's a tough process. Believe me, I've been through so many different things in Japan. I've worked in a variety of places. I've went through the same processes that many of you are going to go through or are planning to go through or have already went through as well. And it's time consuming. Sometimes it's really stressful. Sometimes you just feel like, oh my gosh, why, why isn't there one universal way to just do something and get it done? But believe me, when finally you go through that process and you do land that job that you want or that you were hoping for or that you really, really worked hard for, it's magical. And take those steps, really go through the process carefully, read all the fine print. If I can do it, believe me, anybody can do it. So if you liked this video or found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed and would like to continue learning more about teaching in Japan or about life here in Japan, we'd love to have you as a subscriber, so please consider subscribing. And if you have anything you'd like me to address, or if you have any personal questions that you'd like to know about teaching in Japan, or maybe something that you're curious about life in Japan, please go ahead and leave it in the comments below. I look forward to hearing from you, and I look forward to sharing more and more with you so that you can find your happy place here in Japan. Alright guys, take care. I'm going to leave you with my dog because he's just sleeping next to me. Take a look at this. Alright Sinbad, are you ready to hit the road? Okay, say bye. Thanks everybody, and we'll see y'all later. Thank you. Bye-bye.